Dad, there is a credit crisis in America, and auto loans are leading the charge. Can I walk you through an example of a customer who purchased a Kia Telluride just 2 years ago, and we can demonstrate the auto loan crisis that they are currently experiencing today?
Absolutely. I believe what you're going to show me is exactly how underwater somebody might be.
All right, so folks, we have record setting auto loan delinquencies happening right now. And it is because 2 years ago, Dad, a lot of new vehicles were selling above MSRP. One of those vehicles was a Kia Telluride.
Yes.
We've got an example of a Kia Telluride right here, a new 2024 one. The MSRP is $44,530. It pains me to say this, Pops, but a couple years ago, 2 years ago, even a year ago, heck, even earlier in 2023, Tellurides were selling with $5,000, $10,000 in additional dealer markup.
Yes.
Dad, let's imagine a customer back 2 years ago. Let's say maybe the MSRP was still $44,530. They also agreed to $10,000 in additional dealer markup plus taxes and fees in their state, which, we have out the door price that varies based on what state you're in. Realistically, Dad, someone could have bought a Kia Telluride with a $44,000 MSRP. And what do you think? $10,000 markup, taxes and fees, finance 60? Is that too crazy to say?
That's not crazy at all. That is, if they bought it for 54.5 and there's about 10.5% on top of that for state fees, you're up to 60 grand. And so, a lot of people come into dealerships. I don't know. I saw a lot of them where they don't want to put any money down. Okay, great. So, they bought what was a $44,000 car and they financed $60,000 on it. So, the bank would have agreed to finance, I don't know, what's that, 125% of MSRP, including taxes and tax.
135%, Ed. It's 135%.
Okay.
$60,000 loan on a $44,500 vehicle is 135% loan to value. And this is an important concept that we're going to dig into. Banks, Dad, we've made videos on this on the past. Many other folks online have as well. Banks had very, very, very aggressive loan to value guidelines that they were operating under a year ago and 2 years ago. And now we're seeing the ramifications of that. Banks were lending up to, I don't know, Dad, 150, 160, 170% loan to value ratio. Can you explain maybe like how crazy that is relative to when you were active in the business? Like, did you ever see a loan get approved at 150% loan to value?
No, I saw 135, 140%. And if you were looking at an $80,000 car, and they would do 140%, so that's what, another $30,000, $32,000 on top of that. Yeah, banks were, obviously you needed to have good credit. A couple of years ago, you probably just needed to have credit for the banks to say, yeah, we'll do these crazy loan to value ratios. But, like this Kia we were talking about, that's at 135% loan to value ratio. That's not even factoring in what the dealer cost of that vehicle is, that $44,500 vehicle. Let's say between everything, there was a 10% margin built into that car. So it means it was really a $40,000 vehicle to the dealer. And you're financing 60, you're already $20,000 upside down the moment you sign. And it's actually more than that because, the car's not going to be worth 40 anymore.
So here's the big aha moment for all of us, and it's a shame because we're in the thick of it, but it's important for everyone to understand. So the bank was agreeing to make that contract, agreeing to that financing at that time. The money was lent, the collateral, the loan was uncollateralized for unsecured for a portion of it. In this case, 35% of it, or if we use your logic of what the actual cost of the vehicle is, actual value of the vehicle even more. So this Kia, Dad, now let's fast forward 2 years. I'm the Kia owner. I've paid my loan every single month, my car note every single month. I could be looking at a situation where I still owe 2 years later $53,000, $54,000, $50,000, something like that. And the vehicle might not actually be worth $44,500 like it was when I originally bought it. You've driven it for 2 years. It's probably worth, especially in the rapid decline in wholesale values, it's probably worth somewhere closer to like $25,000 to $30,000, if that. Start doing the math, folks. You could be 200% loan to value ratio like that. $25,000 car, $50,000 balance. Like that leads to then, and I'll give you a second here and it pops to add your commentary, record-setting auto loan delinquencies. We truly have the highest level of auto loan delinquencies we've seen since 2006 in the United States of America. And this example with this one Kia Telluride demonstrates how that happens. If you're the customer looking at that auto loan, Pops, you're not like, what are you doing? You're just like, screw it, I'm going to walk away. I mean, I hope they're not, but the data suggests they are.
Well, the data suggests that they're falling further and further behind in their payments. And most of those people, even though they're behind, they don't want to figure out how to walk away because they don't know how they're going to replace that form of transportation.
Yeah.
But it does point out the fragility of the system, the way it works, when people don't put enough money down to make sure that they're at least breaking even or building some equity as they're paying down the vehicle loan. And let's just assume, okay, that it was an average length loan on a new car. Okay, which would, I believe the average today is 70 months. So let's call it a 72-month note. And you're financing $60,000 on a $40,000 vehicle. You've got to go, I'm going to say 56 to 60 months into that loan, making your payments every month before you are at a break-even point on that loan if you wanted to trade your vehicle in. Okay? So if you're signing up for a 6-year note, you're going to have to keep that for 4.5 to 5 full years before you can even think that you're going to be at a break-even point where the vehicle is going to be worth about what you still owe on it. That's you got to be out of your mind. So what that suggests to me is, as a consumer, you need to put money down when you buy a vehicle to protect yourself from things like this.
So the latest numbers, Dad, on auto loan delinquencies, again, the ramifications of those decisions that were made 2 years ago or a year ago. 1.92% of auto loans are severely delinquent in the United States. That's up from 1.89% in October, which is the highest rate dating back to 2006. 7.53% of subprime auto loans are severely delinquent, up from 7.38% in October, also the highest rate. It is 7 months in a row of increasing auto loan delinquency rates in our market. And Dad, this is also coming at the exact same time where auto loan rejection rates are the highest they've been since the data that we have access to. So last quarter, we had the highest level, 14% of auto loans being rejected. Most recently, 9% of auto loans being rejected. Back during the height of the pandemic, when money was everywhere, it was 1% of auto loans were being rejected. So you can see the pendulum has swung back in the other direction. And the unfortunate reality here is a lot of people are caught up now with an immense amount of negative equity and an auto loan crisis where they're thinking, do I pay for my credit card, my rent, my mortgage, or my car? And that car is depreciating more rapidly. It's kind of like a perfect storm of like financial conundrum for the institutions that wrote all of those loans.
It could be an issue if everybody defaulted at the same time. And hopefully...
Is it not already happening right now? That we know that the reason default rates are lower, not higher, as delinquencies are going up, is because there's just not enough repo agencies out there. So like, we're already seeing a bottleneck in the system, which is there are not enough repo men and women out there. So if you're an entrepreneurial person, go be a repo person. Go start a repo agency. It's very lucrative right now. So it's like, I think we kind of already are seeing the ramifications of like delinquencies and falling behind on loans happening too quickly.
There's always delinquencies and defaults. But yeah, if everybody went bad at the same time, it would be really, really, really ugly. One of the reasons banks are tightening lending is because they see that happening. And so banks, being reactive, are cutting back on credit facilities available to consumers out there. So they're trying to address it in the way that they can. American consumers need to address it by actually setting out a budget and figuring out what it is that they can afford to spend before they go to a dealership and allow themselves to sign up for a loan that is beyond their capacity to pay.